So when I think of role clarity, I think about the importance of every single member in our team that is responding to a crisis event on ADs. You have your AA staff who are responsible for communicating via the emergency response system to get all the appropriate providers to the bedside as quickly as possible. You've got your clinical assistants who are going to help to clear the room to ensure that the appropriate providers can get to the patient who is in crisis. You've got your bedside nurse who needs to remain at the patient's bedside to communicate important information to the rest of the team who are responding. You've got your attending physicians or nurse practitioners who are either going to be reorganizing the remainder of the team or providing hands-on clinical support. And then you've got your team leads who are assigning specific roles, whether that be code cart management, airway, recording, etc., and ensuring that each one of those roles is fulfilled and that each one of the people that is asked to fulfill a role is not acting outside of their scope of practice is one of the most important aspects that the leader can ensure is done whenever they are responding to a crisis event.
I agree. I think I'll actually have 2 points. One is I think it's really important in especially bedside emergencies where the code button is pushed and a ton of people are running into the room. It's important for each person to state who they are. So I don't think anyone can make the assumption that everyone knows who they are, because there's lots of newcomers to the scene. So it's important to basically state your role. Hi, I'm so-and-so from anesthesia, whoever. The other thing that I wanted to mention is you were talking a little bit about designating leaders. It reminds me of what I've observed sometimes in emergencies where the red light gets pushed and a lot of people come to the bedside, and it's often the leaders that are the most comfortable with the care that are running to the bedside and helping with the hands-on care, or running to the cart and helping with the cart, and then all these extra people are arriving wondering what they can do. And in that situation, it's extremely helpful to have like a little mini leader of those teams. So for someone who feels like they can step back and take a global view of what's going on. So I'm going to step back at the cart and I'm going to assign roles because now I have lots of people here to help. The same thing goes on at the bedside.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. Having someone in a leadership role who is helping to run the event from a clinical standpoint, and to your point, having someone who can also have that 20,000-foot view and stand back and say, okay, at the bedside we have someone managing the airway, we have someone placing an IV, we have someone administering a medication. At the code cart, we've got someone preparing the next potential round of medications, getting ready at the next set of supplies that we might need. And then, oh yes, over in the corner we have someone who's keeping track of what's happened throughout the course of the event and managing the throughput that is required to get this patient from their bed space into a safer place, whether that be the ICU or another area. But having that global perspective is very important, whether you're at the bedside, at the code cart, or even outside of the room, helping to manage the team from on high, from that 20,000-foot view. I think that's really important.
And what helps in that situation is when you're designating a job for someone, then they know that's their job and they're staying in their lane. And even though they might be distracted by other things going on, that they've been assigned this role and they're going to continue to do that role until it's completed.
Right.